Hello, StarCraft fans. This is Moltrap, and I'll bet you thought I was going to say ladies and gentlemen, but I didn't. Ha! I'm alongside Cholera here, and we're going to be doing Group E of the ClubDay MSL Round of 16. This is Frozean, who we see right here, versus NaDa, who we now see right here. Assuming this is all synced up properly eventually. And yeah, this should be an interesting match. NaDa, of course, looking a little bit nervous, concentrating right there. You know, well, you know what? I'll bet I should take that back. I'll bet he is not nervous at all because NaDa is the most accomplished StarCraft player ever. He's been in so many games. He probably doesn't feel any nervousness at all at these things any longer. Although you got to say that you got to give him credit for being at a very top level for so long, but still, nonetheless, he hasn't really he hasn't been like at an S-class level in a while. He hasn't been a true force to be reckoned with in a little while. So there is that. So Frozean, however, he's kind of relatively new on the scene. He's never been at an S-class level. He's never really won anything, but he's someone to look out for. He's playing decently so far this MSL. So not sure what to expect from him.
But he's so cute. Cute Angel. I hate that name.
God.
So I refuse to call him Cute Angel, even though that is what he goes by. Cute Angel, not spawning at the 5 o'clock location in red. NaDa, the Tornado Terran, spawning in yellow at the 11 o'clock position. And NaDa certainly, the last time NaDa was in the finals of a Star League, or even the top 3 or 4, was in the OSL in 2007 when he was defeated by an up-and-coming savior, which denied NaDa a 4th OSL title. Of course, he already had the golden mouse, so maybe he would have gotten the platinum mouse. But certainly, in some ways, if NaDa ever had a real rivalry with Savior, and by the way, you should check out the the BlizzCon casts, where they do face each other in the finals from just a week ago, actually, in California. Diggity was over there. Anyway, if you do, if you was angry at Savior, certainly Savior has declined in many ways more than NaDa has, and NaDa still makes it regularly into the, rounds of 16s of the MSL and OSL, and Savior has not done so. Unfortunately, yes, he is not in the MSL round of 16 this season. We're seeing a forward barracks here. Wow, a proxy barracks actually from Frozean right outside of NaDa's base, and when NaDa finds this out, he might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I wonder if he's gotten in a nice position if he's going to do a barracks float, which would be interesting. NaDa is scouting, so he's going to see that there's no barracks in Frozean's base. He's going to know that something shenaniganrous is going on. And so he's going to expect something to be happening here. He does have his barracks up at the same time, though, so he's not going to get caught too off guard at this rate. Since we're on the topic, NaDa was the one who took Savior out of the MSL. They were in the same group, and NaDa was the one who eliminated him.
Absolutely.
From the MSL. So that's why we're seeing NaDa here instead of Frozean. In any case,
instead of Savior.
NaDa getting his... What's that?
Instead of Savior.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, instead of Savior.
Yeah.
Good call. So in any case, NaDa, though, pretty confident in what's going on. He's got a good scout in, and he sees Frozean has taken off SCVs from gas, so he's going to just get his first factory up and go straight into an expansion as well. It looks like only one SCV on gas for NaDa. So pretty much mirror builds at this point, except we do have a little bit of a float going on from Frozean. Not going to perturb NaDa at all. Just completely confident, not panicking, not trying to worry about cheese or anything like that. He knew exactly, even without that barracks in his base, he knew exactly what Frozean was doing just from his SCV count, and has just gone for a normal build.
Yep, and I'm sorry about that. I guess what Frozean was just doing is, I guess, a quick barracks scout there, almost like an overlord scout inside of NaDa's base. NaDa will probably get one Marine and will eventually chase away that barracks. Looks like a fast expand from both players. Both are going to probably go for that FD build. Well, I guess it's not really an FD build when it's against Terran, but it sort of is, I guess. Both going for that factory first, followed by the command center small deviation here. Frozean's gone for a Vulture, whereas NaDa has gone straight to Machine Shop, so NaDa will probably produce a tank, whereas this one Vulture might be able to get a little bit of harassment off. We'll see how Frozean manages to do with it. Actually, he might be able to pick off the SCV building in the command center if he rushes over there quickly, and I think that might be partially his goal, to slow down NaDa a little bit. NaDa, meanwhile, with that one Marine, still just trying to chase away that barracks, but actually NaDa has built a Vulture of his own. Looks like, yeah, Frozean will be able to pick off the constructing SCV before his Vulture goes down, but that's only going to delay NaDa a few seconds, not too much of a difference. Meanwhile, NaDa also, no, actually that's Frozean's Vulture there. You know, I think this could lead to a very long positional game, being there's so many bridges on this map. I think this should be interesting. I wonder if NaDa's sort of veteran skills will be able to, you know, outshine Frozean. Frozean did manage to beat Jaedong, though, in his MSL group at round of 32, so not too poor there. And what is he doing here with his barracks?
He's got a barracks. He's landed. It looks like he's going to try and slow down the construction again, but to no avail. It's turned into a manor barracks, blocking some SCVs from mining at that expansion. Wow, a canceled machine shop from Frozean. That's very interesting. He's going like all in Vultures right now. Yeah, look at this. They're showing 2 mineral patches pretty much delayed from mining there by that barracks. NaDa has his barracks now in Frozean's base, so he could do the same thing if he wanted, but he's actually going to float his barracks in there and see what's going on in it anyway. And, okay, so yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see the armory there. So actually Frozean getting some Goliaths out probably. So very, very interesting kind of a build here going on. Very unusual to not get tanks, especially if you're going for an expansion where you can get that second gas relatively early. I'm really curious to see if Frozean has some kind of a specific plan that he's going on here, or if he's just going to run out into NaDa's minefield and lose all of his units.
Well, he's doing a good job of not getting mined in. This is a really interesting build. Oh, NaDa with a beautiful snipe there, killing off that injured Goliath. Yeah, looks like he's just going to use Vultures and Goliaths. Vultures without mines, because he killed his own machine shop, or he canceled it, to try to hold off this push. And, oh, he's getting a starport, actually. And now, dual machine shops. Very interesting. That one barracks has been a thorn in NaDa's side. I gotta say, the offensive barracks, not the offensive barracks building Marines, but the building itself is a great idea. I mean, Frozean has annoyed NaDa twice already. He did a little bit of I guess you'd call it a barracks prison there for the tank, and that barracks is still just getting valuable scouting information. So interesting.
Yeah, it looked like Frozean decided though that he couldn't really move in with that, so he decided to lift that barracks before it became in a burning situation. Frozean, incidentally, he went for a lot of Vultures pretty early on. Got some harassment going on, but he hasn't really done anything with those Vultures. I mean, he doesn't even have any upgrades on them at this point, and he's gotten these Goliaths out for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why he got the Goliaths. Maybe he was expecting NaDa to go for more Vultures on the ground, and now getting a Wraith out, getting a control tower attached as well. I'm not certain if he's going to go for Cloak. He may. But he may also try to go for some quick dropships along with those Goliaths. So it's really kind of hard for me, at least, to tell exactly what's going on here. Frozean doing some interesting tactics, not really going for what was usual. But in the meantime, NaDa has set up a nice little firing line down the middle of the map. He's going to have to get something out to protect it from this Wraith picking away at that tank. But in the meantime, NaDa has definitely taken position in the middle of the map.
That's absolutely what he needs to do. If he can push forward a little bit more, he'll be able to prevent Frozean from taking the right side expansion, where I guess a second natural, and that is something that we see Terrans do a lot to Protosses, really divides the Protoss in half, and he could do the same thing to Frozean. Frozean just now has siege mode, but he only has 2 tanks against NaDa's probably 7 or so, and NaDa's SCVs are actually going to do a fine job just repairing those tanks. Looks like they're repairing each other too. That's a problem with one Wraith. It just doesn't do damage that quickly. It might be able to pick off a couple of these SCVs, but here comes the first Goliath from NaDa, and that Wraith is not going to be that effective. I wonder if the control tower is just for dropships, so we could be seeing some kind of drop, possibly behind a natural expansion. We did see in, well, in another game, Firebat Hero versus versus Tempest, we saw that being used. No, I'm sorry, Stork versus 4GG, we saw that being used. But yeah, anyway, so the Wraith is going to get some good scouting, but really I think NaDa has a definite advantage here. NaDa now with enough Goliaths that this Wraith really is not going to be effective. And he has position in the middle map, so, you know, Frozean has just been playing strange this entire game. I wouldn't say it's a creative strategy. Well, it is creative, but it's in the creative in the bad way, going for that early Goliaths and vultures without mines, because you really just are forced into a defensive position. Like, what are you going to do with those Goliaths?
Frozean moving in here a little bit. Unfortunately for NaDa, I mean, he did take kind of a firing line, but it was a little bit spread out, so we now see that he's able to move in. And oh, NaDa moving in, planting some mines right next to those tanks. They do get taken out, though, before accomplishing anything. So Frozean doing some decent pushing here. He didn't lose many units there. He managed to push in and take out a couple of NaDa's tanks. So both players kind of establishing this front here. NaDa critically, though, does...
3 dropships.
3 drop... Oh. Yeah, oh, I didn't realize there was that many out. 3 dropships out for Frozean. What I was going to say before is he went for this Wraith, and that at least forced NaDa to get some anti-air, but now that he's got dropships, that might actually prove bad. And actually, going in for a drop on the main, and NaDa has nothing to protect his main. All of his forces are rallied out to the front.
Wow.
His forces are far out in the middle. I don't think NaDa even knows this is coming. He doesn't have anything out there to scout. Now he sees it coming in, and he's going to have to run a lot of SCVs out of... Oh, you got to run him out of the way. Oh, jeez, that was close. If he'd gotten 3 or 4 siege hits on that group of SCVs, he would have lost a lot of them. He's going to have a tough battle now to take back his main. It looks like he's just going to lose probably a couple of depots, but more important, he's going to lose a lot of mining time.
Yeah, that was a great pull there by NaDa, though. Do you see that? None of the SCBs went down, but still, he's got this thorn in his side now, all these forces in the back of his base. Here comes his tanks to clean it up, though. I think he's going to run some SCBs to take hits. Yep, and he's going to put those vultures in there. He's going to try to lay some mines, but Frozean's done a good job of targeting fire these vultures so far in this game. Yeah, targeting the vulture mines also. And looks like NaDa will be able to clean it up at the cost of, well, actually at the cost of not many units, but certainly, like you said, a little bit of delay in mining time. And Frozean manages to escape with his dropships. That's actually absolutely crucial, because mobility is the name of the game in Terran vs. Terran. And you know, because normally your forces are so immobile with your siege tanks that if you can gain a mobility advantage, either through a creative use of terrain, you know, creative flank, or through dropships, you can gain a huge advantage. And we are seeing, you know, dropships coming out for Frozean more and more, but I don't think NaDa even has a starport, so that's going to be his one disadvantage. Now that Frozean has enough tanks to hold the middle, NaDa, I think, well, NaDa has more expansions though, so who knows? This game is still very even, I have to say.
Yeah, what I thought Frozean was doing at first was going for just some Wraiths for cover, because it's something I've seen in TVT a lot lately. It's been kind of
go
more and more. Oh man, Frozean's SCV wins. That would have been fun to see, a nice little simul kill. But what I was saying is sometimes if you get the Wraiths, you only need a few Wraiths overhead in order to protect against dropships dropping on your tanks, and then you can focus more on tanks. It makes it a little bit easier to get more firepower out on the ground, and you're relatively well protected compared to the normal game, which it looks like both players are just going to be playing normal here, getting Goliaths to protect against drops. But Frozean's setting up now in a really nice position in the top left, setting up which he'll be able to take a significant portion of control of the map from that, and also going in with a drop here, NaDa trying to bring back his forces, but he's having to go across bridges and a lot of stuff, and he does have some tanks already set up here, but Frozean's just going to fly right by them and drop all over his supply lines. No, he's still going, still not dropping. Wow. Complete fail by Frozean. I mean, he knew that NaDa was onto him, but I think he missed out on an opportunity to get at least a few free kills from that, and just kind of going out with a whimper there.
I wonder if they were even full, though. Was Frozean trying to pull... I mean, it would have been beautiful if Frozean had just attacked with all of his forces in the front there. You know, pulled a boxer, but Frozean is no boxer. I mean, I was friends with Boxer. I served with Boxer. Frozean, you are no boxer. Sorry. But... That's a reference from, well, some of my viewers will get it. But anyway, lots of factories going up, and Frozean is no boxer. He did not manage to pull off some kind of crazy move there with his his tour of the of NaDa's base with his 4 dropships. Maybe there are a bunch of rich tourists who paid for an expensive ride, you know, all around the base. But yeah, I don't know. NaDa now picking up a couple of starports of his own, and I think Terran versus Terrans lead to silly commentaries. What do you think about that, NaDa? Mainly because these games are kind of long and oh, nice snipe there by NaDa though. So we're actually going to see some more action. I was going to say there's not too much action, but NaDa's now going for the left side base.
Wow, but there is a crap ton of tanks up there, and Frozean has the high ground. Oh, wow! Wow, I just saw a glimpse of an explosion there, and a few of Frozean's tanks went down, so for a second it looked like Frozean was going to take that battle, but NaDa evened it up with that last volley. And it looks like both players now taking their expansions on the side of the map, kind of evening things up, basically. The amount of bases are back to being even, and you can kind of see on the minimap how there's kind of a diagonal, sort of a natural dividing line between which bases belong to who as what territory and that sort of thing, if that made any sense. NaDa going in for a little bit of harassment here. Some nice harassment, actually, getting that mine down to take out the Goliath, forcing Frozean to bring back all of his dropships, which may still be empty, because if they were... Well, maybe he doesn't want to drop his troops all over the mines, actually. That's probably what's going on. So,
yeah.
I was...
That is what's going on.
Anyway, but NaDa just running all over the dang map with these vultures, getting good scouting at the very least, and being a pain in Frozean's buttocks.
Yeah, and you know, this is why NaDa is known for his vulture use. I mean, he certainly managed to get vultures into Frozean's main, despite there being, you know, 100 tanks on the map. You know, he got one in, but still, it's quite impressive. NaDa actually looks like he's got a siege position on the refinery, of all things, at the corner of the base there. Frozean with a gigantic firing line in the middle of the map, a gigantic wall of tanks there, and NaDa, meanwhile, has his first dropship out. We'll have to see how he uses it. If he uses it better than what Frozean has done. Frozean had one drop in the main that was semi-effective, and since then his dropship advantage, he really hasn't used his dropship advantage. I mean, usually the player who has more dropships manages to do better, but oh man, Frozean gave one dropship pull shot, but looks like he will be able to drop NaDa's expansion successfully, but oh my god, NaDa held that off. That was ridiculous how NaDa managed to hold, at least temporarily, that entire drop.
Wow, that was... I'm not sure if he even dropped all of his forces out. That may have been part of it. But interesting that you noted that he was hitting the refinery. It looks like NaDa's refinery in danger now. NaDa now coming in full force. He says, "You are not taking this expansion, buddy." Coming in with a lot of tanks as reinforcements. Frozean, though, intent on taking it, it seems, coming in with reinforcements of his own, flying his Maverick science facility in to do some scouting. It looks like, again, NaDa's going to take that, though, but both players basically barely retaining position on their expansions at the 9 and 3 o'clock positions. But yeah, in TVT, gas is king. Gas is so important in TVT. You know, it's just all of the units that use dropships, tanks, Goliaths, all use gas in TVT, so it's so important. So even just something like losing a refinery can actually be a big deal. And NaDa going in for some more harassment here. Wow, this time no reinforcements over there, nothing to try and take care of that. Laying down mines again, and those mines are going to slow down those reinforcements from taking things out. In the meantime, NaDa killing off SCVs left and right,
beautiful,
and center and up and down and north and south. Jesus, those vultures have been very effective, and might even try and get a tank down or something like that. No, the mines get taken down. And NaDa going for a drop behind his natural at the same time, but having to run away, a little bit scared as Frozean comes in to reinforce. Wow.
Wow. And just like you said, how dropships are so important. If one side can snipe off a couple of dropships while they're loaded, if you accidentally run your dropships over your opponent's Goliaths, that could change the game entirely. You could you can go from a winning position to a losing position in a second. So NaDa has to watch out for that also, and so does Frozean with those Cavalier dropships flying everywhere. I mean, I'm just surprised he wasn't wasn't scared of losing all of them to a bunch of Goliaths. But anyway, NaDa is showing that this old or relatively old pro gamer still has what it takes to pull the tornado, to reap the whirlwind on Frozean, because he is known for being called the Tornado Terran because of how quick he is with his vultures and how he can just surround the opponent in all directions with his attack units, and he shows he's still able to do that. Meanwhile, NaDa looks like he's got an intercept of those dropships in the back. Unfortunately, he has no Goliaths with him, and meanwhile, NaDa, I think, is going to experience another big drop in the main base here.
Right, but NaDa actually was preparing for that. He had a lot of his forces already hanging back there. Tanks sieging up. Both players trading tanks a lot, but NaDa was just on top of it. And really, for that kind of a drop to be truly effective, it needs to be a surprise. You need to get off a few tank volleys before the enemy realizes what's going on. And wow, NaDa even sieging over the ridge there, taking out a neutral creature with the splash damage of his tanks.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
That was awesome, the little blood splotch on the ground. And NaDa, though, has secured now his 10 o'clock expansion. He's set up tanks over there, so he's going to be able to kind of contain Frozean and take that expansion. Frozean, though, has the counterpart expansion in the bottom right. So, again, things just kind of staying even here. We could see some kind of a low money, a low mineral face-off eventually if they end up mining out their bases, because we're already seeing the second and third bases mining out at this point.
We could see battle cruisers even, but I'm not sure if this map is exactly good for battle cruisers. Like, Blue Storm can have battle cruisers quite frequently. Battle cruisers are obviously the last stage of Terran vs. Terran evolutions. The only time you guys will ever see battle cruisers is in the Terran vs. Terran. For those of you who keep asking me, are there any pro games where people will use queens? Are there any pro games where people use scouts? Yes to scouts, no for queens, and yes for battle cruisers. But anyway, lots of tanks being dropped. Oh my god. Huge force of tanks being dropped for Frozean. Huge force of tanks being dropped for NaDa. And NaDa once again. Wait, I was going to say he won that battle, but no, there was more tanks there than I thought there were. Wow, that is a lot of tanks for Frozean. And looks like Frozean actually has taken out, or, well, he certainly stopped everything. Killed everything that was not, that was on the ground there at the right side there. So, tit for tat there. NaDa's meanwhile, of course, stopped Frozean's gas mining at the 9 o'clock, but meanwhile, the respective, well, not the real mirror one, but whatever, this location is dead now for NaDa, and NaDa's going to need to scrap together a couple more dropships full of units to be able to deal with these tanks.
I think NaDa just lost the game. He has now lost that expansion, and Frozean kept his, so Frozean's going to be up in expansion. And even though gas is king in TVT, I mean, you still need to have some mineral intake, and with NaDa running out of minerals at some expansions, and he needs to keep that expansion there. Critically, there were no Goliaths around, so he did keep that command center, and he has actually managed to retake that position. I did not realize that NaDa had that cache of troops in the back, so he might be okay after all. Maybe I called it too soon, but if he loses that spot again or something like that, then he's going to be in trouble. I mean, he did lose a lot of units. Frozean took a definite lead on that position. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking too soon. I haven't got a good impression of how big their armies are at this point, but NaDa can't afford another loss like that, though.
Yeah, really, you were right about that. Frozean has not really kept a lot of Goliaths with his tanks. It's pretty much a pure tank force. NaDa's the only one producing vultures, though. Frozean just doesn't have the manliness for vultures. True men use vultures in Terran vs. Terran, by the way. Anyway, NaDa, like I said, he's managed to stop gas mining here at the 10 o'clock. Frozean might be trying to change that, though. NaDa, meanwhile, has prepared himself, though, with tons of turrets. If Frozean flies over there, he could lose a lot of units, but looks like no, he's going to drop and try to take out NaDa's contain here with a lot of tanks dropping down. I think he's going to be able to with some casualties, and now he's replacing his gas refinery there. NaDa, though, with another nice harass here, although I think there's tanks on the ridge to kill his vultures off. No, actually, those are his tanks causing the splash damage. So NaDa now trading expansions, and not trading expansions, but he's going to take out this expansion, I think, entirely at the lower right side. And this might be what it takes to, to gain himself an advantage. Yeah, there's Goliaths there, so that command center is going down. Cloak Raid's coming, though, and managing to snipe off, I think, a couple of these dropships. That's really critical that NaDa needs to scan this. NaDa has not scanned this, and all these dropships are going down. Finally, he scans. So I think 3 dropships went down there. I don't know if that could change the game. Oh, Physics Lab. Hello, Physics Lab. So
BC's.
yes,
We're
we are
seeing the
reaching that
BC
point.
switch. Oh, but if NaDa can take out the physics lab and the science facility, and Frozean has just spent a lot of money putting up those starports and everything to try and switch over,
Yes.
and if he can intercept that switch to battle cruisers, that would be epic. He would be able to take the advantage going into the final aspect of the game. He's got a lot of Goliath there, so Frozean cannot even drop on top of that force. NaDa has taken a huge. Oh, it might be trouble to put mines on top of his units there, but NaDa taking a huge foothold in Frozean's base, killing
Oh,
off starports,
nice
killing off
try.
science facilities.
I think we got the crowd too excited about battle cruisers because it looks like there's going to be no battle cruisers because everything that is needed to build battle cruisers, starport, science facility, and physics lab went down in a matter of about 3 seconds there. So sorry there,
Yeah.
YouTube viewers who love strange units. We're not going to be seeing battle cruisers this game, most likely. NaDa is a big lead right now, and I don't think Frozean really wants to venture into battle cruiser territory anytime soon. He still has that one starport moving, so might have one battle cruiser queued up. I don't know, but it's not going to make a huge difference. Usually turn versus turn ends up with battle cruisers if there's more of a stalemate than this, but this is definitely a back and forth battle. Frozean trying to drop the corner of NaDa's base, but that's not a wise spot with all the turrets there, and NaDa just stomps on it with a counter drop of his own. NaDa has won almost every single battle of this game, so it's amazing that Frozean still manages to, it still is sort of tied, and yes, we are seeing one battle cruiser, so hope you kids are happy.
Yeah, I severely underestimated the army that NaDa had because I figured with that expansion on the right he would counter drop immediately, and when he didn't, I figured he didn't have any army left. So that's why I kind of called it for Frozean, but clearly he did have an army in reserve, and he has used it to now stomp on one expansion and his main, and now he's going to come in here and try and obliterate the bulk of his remaining forces. Goliath's targeting the battlecruiser down immediately. That battlecruiser just completely pops. Did not have a chance to cruise any battles in its day, and NaDa just now obliterating Frozean's main base here.
Yeah, NaDa just, well, I mean, he is taking a lot of tanks and putting him in this position, but Frozean's being forced to commit his tanks too, so he has no ability to really, attack anywhere else and take advantage of the fact that NaDa is so committed inside of Frozean's main. NaDa now picking off the armory, so he's not going to be able to get, Frozean's not going to get those final upgrades he would like to have to make himself stronger against those tanks, although he might have +2 attack upgrade, and that is what's important, of course, against tanks, is your +2 attack upgrade. Anyway, though, NaDa loading up again and again. I mean, NaDa's dropship use has just been light years ahead of Frozean's. I mean, Frozean has attempted several drops. He's attempted at least 3 or 4 drops that totally failed inside NaDa's bases. He had that one brief success on the right side, but NaDa has just been using them tactically. Oftentimes, the first person who drops is actually the one who loses the battle because your tanks are now in the siege position. You want to drop on top of siege tanks, and NaDa's always been the second one to drop. I don't know if you noticed that, Bulltrap, but I think it's definitely worked out for him well.
Wow, and here's another beautiful counter drop. Tanks everywhere, blowing each other up, splashing each. Oh wow! Last volley taking out half of Frozean's troops in his main, and now NaDa is critically going to be within range to take out some of these factories. He's already taken out probably at least a third of Frozean's supply there with supply depots and command centers.
Right.
And now going after the buildings as well, but Frozean persisting. It looks like he's gonna go. Well, he's building control towers on all. Oh,
no,
there he's got
another
science facility.
Physics lab.
So he's still gonna try and go for battle cruisers there. I don't know if he has the economy for it at this point. NaDa's definitely ahead in economy. NaDa actually picked up his expansion in the bottom right. So it's gonna be tricky.
Yeah, usually we see battle cruisers. Alright, for those of you who keep asking, it's when turn versus turn is in a lock situation, and dropships become less effective because both sides have turreted up so much that you can't get dropships. Then you see the switch to battle cruisers to punch holes through those turret tank lines. But this situation is not ideal at all for dropships. There's still so many forces on the ground. Goliaths, and oh man, whoa, NaDa actually not being that successful. Looks like, man, Frozean just had so many tanks there. NaDa didn't manage to drop them successfully. But you know, if NaDa can take down this left side expansion, that'll be pretty much it for Frozean. NaDa needs to also though, because he probably knows there's battle cruisers being created up there, and battle cruisers can change the tide of a battle pretty quickly, especially if Frozean has a lot of resources saved up. Meanwhile, was that a starport and Physics Lab for NaDa? Is NaDa doing BCs also?
Yeah, NaDa is also producing BCs to counter.
Oh,
So
amazing.
he's
Yep.
only going to have to fend off 2 battle cruisers with Goliaths, and then he's going to have battle cruisers of his own. He is going to be behind a little bit since he's only got the 1 starport that I know of. And oh, that was even a dropship being put out there. He actually lost a few dropships in that last drop. So I think he's got enough Goliaths on the ground to deal with it right now, but I think he's probably in the long run actually going to have to get a few more starports putting out battle cruisers if he's gonna deal with this, because there's nice tank support for those battle cruisers. It's gonna make it really difficult to get Goliaths in position to take them out.
Yeah, that's right. Battle cruisers, you know, for those of you who asked, they have been used in the past against Protoss and Zerg, but really in the early days of StarCraft, they were used more often before people found, you know, just solid counters against them. So they're relegated to late game turn versus turn play. But anyway, Queens and Scouts never used, except for Cal versus 4GG. Check that out for Scout. Anyway, NaDa looks like he's taking some harassment on the upper left here. Frozean doing what he needs to do to get back into the game, and that is, you know, continuously harassing NaDa. And I'm surprised that he's managed to stay in this game. Like I said, this whole game, Frozean has just managed to hang around despite losing so many battles and losing a huge chunk out of his main base. He's still hanging around, though.
Yeah, a lot of Frozean's forces relegated to protecting his main base there, you see. I get Scouts, I'm a fan of the underdog in most situations, so Scouts are possibly because of that one of my favorite units, but they are used sometimes. And wow, NaDa beautifully clearing Frozean out of his base. Wow, that was awesome, that drop. And will he take out? No, the battle cruiser survives. Oh, it looked like that Goliath was going in for a suicide run after that.
Yeah.
Battle cruiser, but not quite. Yeah, so if NaDa can keep this spot, I think it's going to be good in the long run here. He's hopefully going to be producing some more battle cruisers. Nope. Oh, the battle cruiser's still not going down to Goliath fire. Yeah, a lot of trade-offs here. Queens are sometimes used too, actually, depending on the situation. Oh, after all that work to save the battle cruiser, Frozean suicidally runs it over into the Goliaths.
Yeah. Yeah, Frozean has done a poor job with his air units generally in this game. He doesn't have a dropship force because he's been too busy running himself over turrets, and this is why he lost his main base, because he didn't have any dropships to counter. You know, what's next? Nukes? Nukes are used too, by the way. Late game turn versus turn. That's pretty much the only time you actually see nukes, unless you're a boxer, in which case, you know, use them more often than that. One unit that has never been used in any game I know of, and this is actually, I was thinking Queens, but it's actually infested Terrans. They're never ever used, except to humiliate. But anyway, so NaDa meanwhile trying to clear up these tanks in the middle. Oh, battle cruisers getting in the fray though. They're not aiming for the dropships, and there's just too many dropships for them to aim for, it looks like. But no, it looks like he's actually managed to force NaDa off the field here. So these couple of battle cruisers are making a big difference. NaDa needs to get his BCs out pretty soon though, because ultimately the only counter for BCs is actually BCs of your own.
Especially on a map like this where they can run over ridges and what have you and move around to different bases. If it was more of an open map, Goliaths could work, but not in this configuration. I have seen infested Terrans once. I saw them once in a pro game, but the GG came before, like as the infested Terran was en route to attack the base, so we didn't actually get to see it go off. Oh, Yamato Cannon cleaning up those Goliaths very nicely. So, Frozean, congratulations, Frozean. You have regained your main base. Go, go, go. It looks like he's trying to wipe up the bottom right expansion as well, with a few tanks. But, yeah, NaDa's gonna have, NaDa has his battle cruisers out now as well. He's got a little bit of catching up to do, but I think he's gonna be okay at this point.
Well, NaDa though is losing expansions though. He's lost the expansion Well, on the upper left, he certainly stopped mining there for a long time. Meanwhile, he's going to lose entirely his expansion at the right side, so it actually is going to be very important for NaDa to get those BCs out, because they're what's really keeping Frozean in this game and making him so effective. NaDa, meanwhile, with another drop, he needs to be careful, of course, of these drops, because battlecruisers can take out dropships pretty quickly. NaDa looks like he's going to try to ambush that battlecruiser with Goliaths. Very pretty there. Do you notice that? NaDa just dropped just to ambush the battlecruiser, and he will take it down. Nice, awesome. You know, killing a battlecruiser with dropships full of Goliaths. That is pretty pimp there.
That is pretty pimp. It looks like he's going to even move around and try and clear out. No, he's not going to. He's a little bit more worried about getting caught out of position, so he's, oh, got to watch out for those mines. No, he's got too many Goliaths, never mind. But, clearing up
wow, that's a huge
some more of Frozean's forces there. Just NaDa has just a really superior ground force at this point. Now he's bringing in his battlecruisers to join in. You're right, he has lost that bottom right expansion, but remember, the only place Frozean is mining is 9 o'clock at this point. And now he's even having to send out some of those SCVs to defend against this ground push. Frozean only has those battlecruisers. He doesn't have a ground force anymore. He may have a couple tanks lying around, but NaDa realizes he's got enough Goliaths to defend against battlecruisers, and he's just going to run around with his tanks and kill whatever he can.
Yeah, it looks like we might not even get to see battlecruiser and battlecruiser action, which is always very exciting. It comes down to trading Yamato, and NaDa might be saving up his battlecruisers for Yamato too. Surprise Yamato attack, certainly not poor. NaDa, meanwhile, has taken out the science facility, so no more BCs. I think there's about 5 or 6 there, and Frozean has just taken back that lower right, which has maybe like 500 minerals left, and he's going to mine it anyway, though, with his command center. And, oh, GG coming from Frozean. So the moment he saw NaDa's battlecruisers in the game, he GG'd. And Frozean, despite being a strong Tyrant versus Tyrant player, has lost to the great NaDa, and this is quite exciting for me at least. NaDa taking this best of 3 1-0, and you know, there's a good chance of seeing him in the round of 8, which is always a pleasure, I think.
I think every StarCraft fan is always happy to see NaDa do well, so an exciting win for all of us. GG.
GG.